Welcome to the Foil Life Podcast, where we talk about foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy these great sports. Well, welcome back. Pensacola, Cabo Verde, Cash again. So we got lots to talk about. I think it's going to be a pretty fun catch-up and episode. And it was nice to actually get to meet you in person in Pensacola. That was a pretty nice setup that we had there. And I think it was a pretty good introduction there to the SFT as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for us, it was the first time we went over for an event to the US. So this was also the goal, to kind of, get to know in person the whole US community. And it's been a bit of a special event status, as it's not been run as a real World Cup. The event we had in Pensacola was basically the foiling week, which is a general water sport foil event that originated from sailing. There is the sailing week in Lake Garda, Italy, that's already running for 10 years. It's a very famous sailboat foil event that runs for many years in Lake Garda. And last year introduced the first time also some board sports. I did some downwind there. So they asked us if we want to be part of that, and when it runs the first time in the US and participate, running different disciplines. I mean, not as a World Cup level, but more as a fun exhibition. It was not with prize money and anything involved, but we had really good athletes actually coming there, and especially what really fascinated me, we had actually from Europe, we only had I think one or two people coming over, but we had obviously a lot of people from the US foiling community from different foil sports. So there were wing foilers, there were downwind guys and girls, pump, surf foil, e-foil, wake foilers. And it really was interesting to see how connected, all the sports are to each other in the US. And I think there are many people like foil athletes that are actually practicing more than one of those. Mm-hmm. And the location Pensacola for me was also something new. I never heard of Pensacola before we actually got in touch with this event, which was already about 2 years ago. The organizer contacted us because he wanted to run a wingfoil World Cup. But we haven't brought it there yet. It might be, something for the future, that we want to build this event bigger, but we wanted to get something started and be part of it. And the location of Pensacola is very interesting. It reminded me a little bit of Miami in small, in a way. So you have this Pensacola beach setup, which is on the Mexican Gulf. And then you got this inlet, this lagoon, let's say, between Pensacola town and Pensacola beach, connected by a bridge. So the whole event was run in 3 different locations, from the beach side to the lagoon side, and then also the waterfront in the city, which was good and bad in a way, because I think on one side it gave you the possibility to run at different locations depending on the wind conditions, and that makes it also so special that any kind of wind direction in Pensacola, you can find a good place. I was actually surprised that there are not more kite schools and wing schools operating, because it's a really good place to teach. It is, as I said, it has very safe conditions of learning, and I think it will grow a lot there. But then on the other side, it also spread up the event more. So it was not concentrated all into one location. It was more spread up, which is not always ideal for an event, obviously, because if you want to get the crowd entertained, you prefer to have everything in one place and everything happening at the same location. But these are things we're also debriefing and discussing, and we might change for the future. Overall, I think it was an interesting and also fruitful event. I think we got a lot of understanding on the community and the foil sports that are happening in the US, and I think it was a great, stepping stone of building up this event in the future, but also other events. And we've been also the week afterwards. I've been visiting Cocoa Beach for the Foil Surf Race League event, where a lot of the guys who were in Pensacola came as well. which was, very well participated, let's say, with a lot of high-level athletes. Condition-wise, we did. I think in Pensacola, the event ran for 4 days, and we got all kind of conditions, even for a downwinder. So we were running a downwinder, we were running pump foiling in 2 different spots, e-foiling in 2 different spots, and then the foil surf race league. They were running their event as well on the beach side, and I think what is important in those events as well, that are maybe not only about a World Cup level like some other events, is really the social part. And I like the social part of it because it really brought together all the different people from the different communities. And I think a lot of them knew each other, but a lot of them were also new. And for me, it was great to meet so many people. And we are probably coming back. We are planning coming back with the SFT already to the US in June, to Atlanta for the Atlanta Foil Festival. And
that's true.
we also have we're in talks now for some wing foil events that might happen in the future there in San Francisco, in Maui potentially. In Pensacola, we want to definitely expand and getting more events into the US, because the foil community is huge in the US, and especially with disciplines like wake foiling and e-foiling. There are so many spots, there's so many lakes and water areas and people that have boats. There are less restrictions on this as well compared to Europe, because in Europe, we have a lot of lakes too, but there are many lakes, for example, where motorboats are not allowed to ride, where even in Switzerland, e-foiling is not allowed at the moment, although they had many locations. So those restrictions are a little bit less in the US, and therefore, I think, make it a bit more accessible in certain areas, which is interesting for a couple of disciplines. I think the pump foil community is maybe a little bit smaller at the moment than compared to Europe. But that I think can grow quick too. I think definitely there's a lot of enthusiasm about foil sports in general, and for me, the whole Pensacola event, and not only talking about board sports, it was really interesting to be connected to other foil water maritime foil sports or foiling groups, like sailboats, like motorboats. We had a visit to the American Magic, so the US America's Cup boat will now get their base in Pensacola. We've been visiting that place where they are at the moment building a new yacht that's built on foils, that's going to be for racing. And it's quite interesting, how much research and development. Obviously, the budgets are a bit different than in board sports. Are put into these sailboats, and all this technology will then also be taken over to board sports, obviously. So, talking to a lot of these, let's say, high-level engineers that are employed to build those hydrofoil boats, as well for the transport sector. So there are a lot of companies that are developing ferries that are built on hydrofoils. And I think it was very interesting to come together and brainstorm a bit. And I think for a lot of those people from the boating industry, they see board sports as a very important part of it, because it is the most accessible way of getting to hydrofoiling. When you look at the cost factor, obviously a foiling sailboat is slightly more expensive than a pump foil or an e-foil even. So
just a little bit.
So they see that young people that want to get into hydrofoiling and get hooked with the foiling virus, board sports is the way to catch them. No, starting straight away with a foil motorboat or a foil sailboat will be only restricted to those who can afford it, which is a small group of young people. But when it comes to board sports, and even an e-foil, which is fairly more expensive than a wing foil or a pump foil, is compared to a boat still a cheap a cheap entry to the foil sport.
And so I think our youngest competitor was Jet, right? I think he was what,
Yeah,
10, 11 years old? Yeah. For people tuning in, it
yeah,
was Jetting Sport, Jatting Sports on Instagram. What an awesome kid. And amazing that his mom drove down and flew, or didn't drive down, but flew down just for the event so he can have the opportunity to pump and race and do all that. And he was over the moon excited. So that was kind of fun to see. And I guess we can't complain. My favorite part was the breakfast at the Hilton. I'm still missing that, even though I'm in Hawaii. That was a mighty good breakfast that we had there every day. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how that shapes up next year. And it was fun. Like a lot of people were so stoked just to be at the same place and be together. Like anybody from Pensacola or even from Europe. I guess all foilers are just happy to be there. So I think it turned out fairly well.
yeah, totally. And we already, as I said, we already having discussions of how this will develop in the future. You know, might even have a second separate board sports event there in the future. And the city of Pensacola is very interested in supporting to grow this event and grow. I mean, Pensacola as a water sports place, and I think
It's
the potential
beautiful
is
there.
definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievably beautiful. The beaches and stuff, and just how it's situated. And yeah, it was first time down to Florida. I don't think I've heard "sir" and "ma'am" so many times in my life, but it was cool, kind of more old school traditional stuff. It was kind of neat though. I am definitely looking forward to heading back next year and just seeing who else comes down. Like obviously Gwen did super well, competing against everybody, and
Yeah.
yeah, overall, I think it was pretty cool. And then from there, how did the Foil Surf Race League go in Cocoa Beach? Because that was a 4 or 5 day event the following weekend, right?
Yeah, it was a 2 day event. It was just
2 day.
the following weekend. Yeah. No, it went. I think it went well. I mean, the conditions also unfortunately didn't come in as everybody was hoping. You know, it didn't get any good swell there. But you know, with this new format, I mean, it had more waves than in Pensacola, but still, with the format that they tested in Pensacola, giving a jet ski assist instead of taking off on the wave, you know, was run as well in Cocoa Beach. And yeah, I was nearly every board sport foil brand was there. So it was a big, I think they had 70 or 80 participants over the different divisions. So there's there was the race format, and there's the expression session where it's just about riding. So for those who don't know the race format, it's basically a takeoff, and then you need to pump or surf around a couple of buoys and come back to the beach. And then this was divided into, so in the expression side, it was divided into prone with straps, prone strapless, foil assist, so foil drive or lift X or any kind of foil assist device. And then there has been also an SUP foil division. So over all these divisions, I think, and there was people that obviously participated in multiple disciplines, divisions. I think it was 70 or 80 participants. And it's been really fun. As I said, also the social part was fun of, you know, on the registration day, everybody coming together, then on Saturday night, obviously. And it's been pretty full on. I mean, running competition the whole day. It was beautiful weather. It was also quite a busy day on the beach there. So yeah, I think it was quite successful, and you see this event growing every day. So I think Cocoa Beach for me also was the first time going there, but it's definitely, I think, a known place in the U.S. surfing world. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have the waves of Hawaii probably, but it has a lot of people that are into water sports, and I mean, it's the home place of Kelly Slater. Probably most of the people know Cocoa Beach from that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's been growing up there, and you know, got himself to the most known surfer of all time. So can't be any bad there.
No, and there's also what the what's that place where they launch their shuttles and stuff? That's not too far either, right?
Yeah, Cape Canaveral. It's just, I
Yeah,
think,
that's what
10
it
miles.
is.
So
Yeah.
basically, from the beach where we had the event, you could see the launching station of the for the space shuttles. I was really keen actually to see a rocket launch, and there was supposed to be a rocket launch on one of the days we were there, but then they rescheduled it due to the weather. So unfortunately,
Uh,
I couldn't see a space shuttle starting. I was hoping for that.
yeah, I would have driven down just to see that. That would have been pretty cool. Yeah. Well, maybe next year. I know they're launching, SpaceX is launching so many of them there all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, so then did you guys hang out a little bit? Because it was Mardi Gras, right? Did you actually get to enjoy that a little bit before you hopped over and went back home?
Yeah, I did. That was my first Mardi Gras in the US, and
No,
actually
no way.
that was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, we had a Mardi Gras during the Pensacola event, which was my first Mardi Gras experience, and yeah, it felt yeah, funny. I mean, this kind of I've been seeing Carnival in Rio, and obviously we have that in some of the countries in Europe as well, in Spain and Canary Islands. It's quite a big thing too. And yeah, seeing all the parades, or there was one parade or a couple of parades in Pensacola, and the effort and people are putting into it, and the rituals that are coming with it. It was all pretty well organized and fun to watch. And then actually, I didn't know about it, but then some people in the following week told me about, if you're here, you should actually go to New Orleans, because that's like the mother of Mardi Gras, and it's happening on Tuesdays, which was right between the two events. So on a short notice, we decided to drive over to New Orleans for 2 days and see Mardi Gras there, and that was a whole different level, I would say. It was not just seeing a
I can
parade
imagine.
in the evening or during the day on a certain time, and it's starting at 2 and finishing at 5 was pretty much the whole 2 days I spent in New Orleans. It was, yeah, just the whole city was in Mardi Gras vibe. You would leave your hotel at 8 in the morning and the party was on the street, and not like in certain places, just like everybody was like having music, dancing, drinking already, and partying basically from the morning hours till the late night. And at Bourbon Street, especially, of course,
Yeah.
in New Orleans. Pretty fun city, I have to say, my first time there as well, and having that, discovering this city in the Mardi Gras days of the year was quite an experience. Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. Next year. Next year. All right. So then you hop over to Cabo Verde. How did that event run? Because you had both, right? GWA Wave, and then also you were launching SFT, or had another SFT there event as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we straight went from the US to Cape Verde. That was starting right after. A couple of the competitors that were in the US at the Foil Surf Race League event also participated in the GWA and in the SFT in Cape Verde. So we basically all hopped within 2 days over to Cape Verde, which is not that far away, but actually flying there, you need to take quite a detour over Portugal to get into Cape Verde.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that. That was a heck of a flight for you, eh?
Yeah, basically what happened that the day before I had my flight, I was in the same flight with the Spencer brothers. I got a notice that they canceled the flight because Lufthansa had a strike and they had to cancel a lot of flights. So I literally tried to book new flights on my way to the airport. So I was driving to the airport. Somebody drove me to the airport in Orlando, and I was on my way to the airport, not even having tickets yet. So I'm trying to buy new tickets on the way, and yeah, luckily I found some flights and made it there in time I wanted to. And Cape Verde was, yeah, it was good. Like, it's amazing. This place, it's just delivering every time we get there, because it has amazing conditions. But obviously, it's not happening every day. But every time we go there, we score, no matter what. I think I've been there now
That's good.
for 6 years, except the 2020 COVID year. I think we've been No, in 2020 actually it was happening, except in 21. That was the only year it didn't happen. I've been there every year, and we have scored Ponta Preta every single year except one. That was the 2020 year. And we've been, because it was a bit later in the season, usually I would say the prime months are January and February. But due to like a late confirmation of the event and, having enough time to prepare, we had to delay it, or the organizer had to delay the event into March. But yeah, we got there for March, and we still scored some pretty decent waves. It was a triple header event, so it was a kite World Cup, a wingfoil World Cup, and the SFT surffoil, where we did for the SFT tour. It was the first surffoil event, and it was planned to be a tow-in format. So we wanted to run that at Ponta Preta, where we run the wingfoil as well, because that's where we have all the decent setup. We had the live stream, the judge tower, everything set up, jet skis ready to pull the guys into some bigger waves. And the thing was that the event, so we started straight away the first day. It was like already pumping, so we kicked off with wingfoiling, and then the first 2 days ran the wingfoil competition. So it was a 9 days event, and then it kind of mellowed out for a day or two. The swell got a bit less, and then picked up again, and we ran the kite surf competition over 3 days, and then the last 3 days we had for the SFT, for the surffoil. But unfortunately, we didn't, on the surffoil event, we didn't get the same swell. It was actually a pretty good forecast, but the swell just didn't hit as much as we hoped to. It was a bit of the wrong direction, and the sets were coming in slow. I mean, it was still working, but it was quite slow in the sets, and a lot of waves for foiling, let's say definitely big enough, but close to the rocks, which on a shortboard you can surf, but on a foil it's a bit sketchy. So unfortunately on the surfboard side, we didn't get those huge conditions we were hoping for. I mean, I was kind of expecting, because it's late in the season, that we're gonna have some days during the 9 days without any wind, where we will focus fully on the tow foil event. But actually it's been blowing like crazy the whole 9 days. We had been 20 to 30 knots every day, like from morning till evening. So, which is very unusual. The strong days were more than 30 knots. So it was decently windy. Whoa. And that's pretty rare out there. It's usually never very strong, but it's been minimum 20 up to 30 knots basically every day. So even the mornings were not often. You have mornings where the wind kicks in at 11, and we thought, okay, we're going to do some tow foil in the morning from sunrise till the wind kicks in. But actually, we had to call on the wingfoil and kite already 7:38 in the morning because of the wind. And so we finished kite and wing first with all the wind, and then said, okay, we're going to concentrate on doing the tow foil afterwards. And then we didn't get as big conditions as hoped. But we also, didn't want to, the forecast was good, and we were discussing the option of moving it to another place where Kite Beach, where we could run a prone foil competition with paddling, because the wind is onshore there, but the waves are not the same, and if we wouldn't have had any forecast, we would have done that, obviously. But it is show-wise in Kite Beach, the reef is much further out than Ponta Preta, so to broadcast it, we would not have been able to live stream it or even film or judge it properly. And the conditions are I would say like anywhere else in an onshore spot in Europe or in the US. But we were really hoping to score Ponta Preta offshore, double head high walls and everything 20 meters from the beach for the proper. We had a very, very good live stream setup there. But you know how it is. Sometimes it just doesn't come as you expected. You depend on other factors. And so on the SFT side, and we were like that there was a really good forecast for the last day, so we didn't want to run it before, and we're waiting for the last day. And the conditions improved throughout the day, but when it started to improve, it got already so late that we already had the men's run up to the quarterfinals. And we had also with all the guys together, with all the riders, we did a meeting when we reached the quarterfinals, and because we didn't want to, force anybody to do things they might not want to do, and we made a mutual decision with all the riders that we wait for the conditions to improve, that we're going to wait in Ponta Preta, and we're going to wait for good conditions to improve, rather than, because a lot of riders said, yeah, it's, if you really want to obviously go to the semis, you want to risk and riding that close to the rocks might be sketchy at some points. It's a bit of luck. There was good waves every now and then, but you really had to wait. And it was luck that it's your turn when you get on the ski that you get a set, obviously. So,
yeah.
But so it was a mutual decision to wait for that. And then when the conditions really started to improve, we got to a point where it was already too late to finish the men's division. So we decided to finish the women's division, which we did. And the men's, we just finished up to the quarterfinals. But we still got some really good images, and we got really good footage, I think, to show what surfoiling is. This was our main purpose. At the moment, this is a new tour, and there are a lot of organizers that don't know really of what to expect from surfoiling. So for us, it was also important to get some really good images that we can show out to the world and say, look, this is the foiling show you can have. And we can potentially go into a lot of places, because especially with the tow-in, you can suddenly run events in places where you wouldn't be able to take off, and you wouldn't be able to run a surfing event even. And I think a lot of organizers are not aware of that they might be even having a great location for tow-in surfoiling, as they are not, insiders to the sport. So yeah, it's been having a lot of good boys and girls at this event and collecting good images, and we are talking now to already a couple more interesting places that I don't want to name yet, but where I don't know if it's going to be for this year or next year, where we want to bring the surfoil tour with this kind of format in the future. So the surfoil tour will be, no matter if it's tow-in or prone, it can be both, depending on the spot. So this is not a different divisions, but we want to give all possibilities. If we go to a spot with bigger waves, we can tow in with a ski, and if it's smaller, it's going to be paddling on prone boards.
You'll have to start thinking West Coast of Canada, maybe get some Tofino action now, because you can have a little bit less consistent wind, but you might get some waves. It'll open up a lot of spots. And obviously, no e-foilers at Ponta Preta, right? You guys just had tow-in, not e-foiling in there?
No, we just did surfoil only. But I have to say, I mean, in my opinion, the foil assist division, talking about foil drive, lift X, flight lab. I mean, there are more companies coming into this foil assist market now. This is a sector of the foiling sports, or e-foiling, that I think is going to get more and more importance. I mean, I was surprised actually to see how many people in the US are having a foil drive, for example, and other devices that are coming up now. So I think, considering that, this is definitely something to look out for the future, not only for a competition format, but I think this has a great potential, and these are products that people are really interested in, because in the end, you can use that in any conditions, and you're going to catch so much more waves than on a regular foil. I mean, imagine you go out to a surf foil spot and you are on a foil assist device. You will just take 2, 3, 4 times as many waves as you would be proning. And if these devices, I mean, I'm also talking about, I see now, just talked lately with somebody about it, about the boogie, the towing device that is remote controlled. So you're holding on, and you have like a little dog, more or less, that's driving you through the water.
Yeah, our buddy in Australia has one of those. Yeah. They look pretty cool.
But even that, and I mean, I haven't tried it myself, but talking to a couple of people now, they actually seem to work pretty well. And the big advantage is you're riding your normal tow foil setup. You don't have a heavy board. You don't have any device on your board while you're riding that it has more drag and more weight. So in the end, it's quite a nice tool, I think, when you want to go to spots that are a bit further out, and you can even share it, I think, with multiple people.
I think it's Bluetooth. Yeah, and you have laps or something with it. Dave was talking about it. Dave West Foils there, and he loves it. He said it was great for what he's doing out there.
So I think any device that comes to this foil assist and helps people to catch a lot of waves, I think is definitely. I know they are not cheap, but I think there is a lot of potential in this market. And the more people have it, we will find also a competition for what to run events with it.
Yeah, no, that's the nice thing about the SFT. Yeah, the SFT, I think you're going to see a nice little growth in these smaller community places that want to take part in this kind of stuff. So I think that's going to be quite fun to do. And looking forward to seeing how it grows this year. Obviously, your first year kicking out. So stoked for that. What about the winners of the Wave for GWA, ladies and guys side?
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting event. Definitely.
Because obviously Cash was just one level ahead of everybody once again, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think what I want to comment on the Wave GWA event was it was really successful, obviously, and we got scored great conditions. It wasn't as big as last year, but I think obviously the action and the riding was taken to another level compared to last year, and this also came with the new rule that we implemented this year in the GWA that now you're allowed to use your wings for airs. So this really changed the performance, changed the game, and I think everybody was like, "Whoa, okay, that show now is stepping up again." And it was the riders who said, well, that was the best change we had in the rule book so far. I think also feedback we got from the outside. I mean, we had a very high quality stream. At the moment we are working with a new company, or we tried working with a new company in Cape Verde, because we want to get the level of live streaming to a standard where we can go on TV, where we can actually have live stream broadcasted on TV. It doesn't mean that it's live on TV, because that's always hard to book slots when you don't know when it's happening. But you can have the live format watching on TV on demand, for example, on big sports platforms. But for this, you need to produce the right the right camera equipment that has broadcasting cameras, and obviously build a good show with the right show with commentators. And I think the feedback we got, it was probably the best stream we have done so far in the GWA, And,
well done.
And we were really happy. I mean, the numbers were the highest we have ever had on the wingfoil event. And the action was top notch, now seeing guys doing massive airs. And I think it was also interesting to see that quite a few people were, let's say, a bit afraid or concerned about with allowing the wing power, using the wing during airs, that the wave discipline going to turn into a freestyle show. I mean, although the rules are really set that you can do airs, but the judging will not reward too much to it if you're doing crazy airs, because we don't want to see people doing backflips or 720s on the shoulder of the wave. If somebody does it off the lip and really in the critical section, that's a different story. And it was really, really interesting to see that didn't happen, So we saw big aerials, kind of windsurfing style, guys hitting full speed the lip and just floating 5 to 10 meters above the lip and re-entering in the wave. And we saw a couple of people that tried maneuvers, let's say air maneuvers, but it's quite tricky. You know, the wind in Ponta Preta is very offshore. It's like straight offshore. So like if you're trying to do airs without getting the projection of the lip that throws you back in front of the wave, it always pushes you at the back. So it's really hard to.
Oh, okay.
It's really hard to land big airs back into the wave unless you properly hit the lip that projects you forward into the wave. So like in the wind, like on a windsurf air. But yeah, some of the airs we've seen were like insane. They were even jumping out of the camera. You know, when we had such a good drone pilot, if some of you checked the live stream, that was flying super close. And sometimes the guys did airs, they were even out of the camera. You couldn't see them and then landing nearly on the camera again. Yeah, we got some pretty sick footage, I have to say. I mean, I was stoked seeing the action, and it was good to see, guys, not only Cash, Cash, Malo, a lot of the other guys doing solid big aerial maneuvers. And I think really showcasing, because that's what people do when they ride in the wave now with a wing. They might do an air, then they take the wing back into the flag out position and then start carving again. So we really wanted to see the best combination of it all, rather than guys just lining straight into section and doing 3 airs in a wave. That wouldn't count too much. You still have, it's still more important to carve in a critical section on wave choice and showing proper foil surfing than doing airs. But the combination of all, that's the ultimate goal, and that was bringing the high scores. And and it was interesting to see. There was a lot of new faces again. Again, we had a long list of people that wanted to enter the event. We opened up this time also for this year the wave discipline to more than 24 people. So in the bracket of the competition, the top 16 were from the world ranking were pre-seeded already in round 3. And then you had 12 more people that were running in the round 1, which were not seeded in top 16. So it means in the first rounds, you wouldn't meet any of the top seeds. So you have a better chance of winning a heat. But as soon as you get into round 3, it's getting to the serious business where you're meeting the big guys, let's say. And and the system was working well. But we had a lot of new guys as well that we haven't seen before, like Nali Mali from Maui. I'm sure you know him, and you probably had him on the show already.
Yeah.
I mean, this boy is going for it like no tomorrow. He was just sending.
He's an amazing little rider. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's not holding back at all. It doesn't matter if it was on the SFT surf foil contest or if it was on the wing foil. And people were really pushing it, and I could see, the last two years when we spoke about the event, I think I always said I was amazed, like actually how less equipment is breaking and that people are not going to the rocks. But this year, it was not that there was a lot more equipment breaking, but because people were pushing so hard and doing airs and trying to do it in the most critical part. Yeah, we saw a lot of people getting on the rocks in Ponta Preta. But nothing serious happened, obviously. But quite a bit of equipment obviously got used and worked. But it was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy to see the level everybody was on, And there are a couple of young guns that are pushing the sport hard. And I mean, Cash was riding amazing. I think Malo was riding amazing too. I think he was a bit bummed at not making the final because he was riding the whole competition, I would say, like similar level like Cash, But in the semifinal, he just didn't throw down as well as he did in a couple of other heats and lost on the margin to Finn Spencer. And then, he really wanted to get back because in the mini final for 3rd place, he put down the highest heat score of the whole event. And
there you go. Let's go.
And show that he is out there. But I mean, that's competition in the end. It's not about one heat. You need to perform well in every single heat until the final if you really want to beat everybody. And sometimes you don't get the right wave choice or you make a mistake, and that's how it is. But I think, watching it was great. And also on the women's side, I mean, unfortunately, we had Elena, the current world champion, not being able to participate because she told me already a month ago that she is not able to attend on the first day. So she was hoping that the competition might not run in the first 2 days of the event window, which did happen, unfortunately, for her. Because it would have been nice. She was only able to come to the event on the third day. And I mean, normally you would say there's a pretty high chance that it will not run in the first 2 days and she has time to, to enter. But so the competition was without her. So she was missing out on the women's side. But we still had a pretty decent field of women with Nia and Muna and Annie Reichert from Hawaii entered for the first time. And Francesca Maini, she's a specialist actually on big air kiteboarding, but she's an amazing overall water woman, Francesca. It's crazy. I mean, she is on the highest. She just finished, if I'm not mistaken, second place 2 days ago at the GK Big Air Kite World Cup in France. And she's
a ripper.
She's a ripper on the kiting, and she's really good in winging too. She did her first wing wave competition last year in Brazil, where she competed on wave kite and wing foil wave, and now she did the same in Cape Verde. She did wave kiting and wing foil wave, and even made it on the top four. So. She's an absolute ripper as well, and did the surf fall too. So she can do it. She can do it all. She's really impressive. And then who was really like stepping up her game and absolutely deserving the win was Nia. I mean, Nia is known to everybody, and I think she has been already collecting her world titles in waves and in free fly slalom and in big air in wing foiling, and she was just missing this wave title so far, but it really showed that she put in some training over the last months in waves, because she was ripping in the waves this year and beating everybody. Everybody was very stoked for her, well deserved. Now she got a world title in every discipline. Which not a lot of people can.
No, I don't think they can.
Can say of themselves. And let's see, if everything goes right this year, she might has the chance to be the first person ever to take a world title in the same year in all the disciplines they're out. She won the indoor already in Düsseldorf, the indoor event. Now she's wave world champion. So there's still the big air, the free fly, and the freestyle, surf freestyle for this year open. But she's definitely in the hot seat for it. So who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, we're going to have a Nia Suardiaz who could potentially take all the world titles in the women's division.
That's pretty special though for her. Like, imagine such a young age and being so so on top. That's pretty cool. Well, hey man, thanks for taking the time. And I know it's morning over there. It's 8:00 p.m. here. What time is it over where you are in Mauritius?
For me, it's 10 in the morning.
Oh, right. These time zones are getting more spread out the more we travel the world.
Yeah, we are. I mean, in 2 weeks we are already at the next event, so it's going nonstop. We're heading to France in 2 weeks from now, with another combination of GWA and SFT. So we're gonna have the classic GWA event with surf freestyle and free fly slalom. And everybody who watched last year knows that this place can get ridiculously windy. I think last year we had some point where we had to stop competition because it was getting already too much and we couldn't handle the boats anymore on the water. Let's see. As I said, there was just the Big Air Kite World Cup was just running last weekend, which is just around the corner. It's absolutely the same area. And it's been the most extreme Big Air event ever. I think it was gusting more than 65 knots on the Big Air event. And it was ridiculous. It was so windy. So this is the time where the famous Tramontana wind really kicks in. So let's see if we're gonna have that for the wingfoil event as well. And we also it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be the first freestyle event. It's gonna be the first free fly event. So that's always the time of the year where you kind of see who was training the hardest during the winter time and who is going to be on top of the game. And there's a lot of new faces that we have on the start list. Really, it's interesting because there's also a lot of, especially the freestyle riders, that time of the year trying to get a little bit more silent on social media. They don't want to really say too much what they're training on. And for sure. Because I mean, as soon as you show a trick, everybody else will start training it too. So I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see some new freestyle maneuvers coming up, because that's always first event of the season where some of the innovative guys that have worked on their trick bag will unveil what they can do. And then also the free fly will be the first event of the season, so we'll see who is the fastest at the moment. And and we're gonna have the SFT as well with a pump foil event and the e-foil event. So the tour continues here.
It's gonna be a busy one
as well. It's a busy one. Yeah, it's a 6 days event. As I said, we have GWA, then we're doing 2 SFT disciplines there, which can run at the parallel at the same time. It's a big event. The Mondial d'Hiver, it's one of the oldest, most traditional water sports events in France. Usually around 50,000 visitors that come down for that week. It's Easter weekend.
Oh, that'll be nice.
So it's usually a highlight of the season, definitely. And as I said, if the Tramontana kicks in, there it's basically like you can have like no wind for a couple of days, or it can be nuking for 3-4 days with 50 knots in a row. You can have everything. And the nice thing would be to have a combination of both, getting a couple of days with strong winds to run everything, and then have some nice sunny and mellow days as well for the spectators. And, being able to, there's a lot of social activities going on as well during the event, and it's a good event, I think, to connect also with the spectators, and being able, there's a big stage to present the sport, present the athletes, doing autograph session. There's a lot of young people, a lot of families coming there. It's going to be the Easter week, so everybody's on holiday. It's always, I think, a great event to promote the sport. So.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to chatting to you about that one when you finish that one, because your season gets pretty busy now, right, for the next little while.
Yeah. I mean, with the SFT, we're going to go right a week after Leucate. We're going to head to Sicily, to the south of Italy, for an SFT event with pump foil and e-foil. The Sicily Water Festival, that's a festival that's happening already for a few years. But this year we're gonna, partner up with them on the SFT side, and that's in May. So first week of May, 1st to 4th of May, which is also holidays in Europe. So if anybody's interested to come down for the pump foil or the e-foil, let us know. Sicily, first week of May. And then in June, we have the GWA Surf Freestyle in Tarifa. And the end of June, and right after the Youth World Championship, which is also a big highlight. GWA Youth World Championship, which is going to happen on the 30th of June until the 6th of July, so first week of July. And this year, the last years we were in La Palma. This year we're going to be in Costa Brava, so mainland Spain, close to Barcelona. It's an amazing place where we've been running also events in the past already with Kite Youth World Championships. It's a big campsite, Balena Alegre it's called. It's a campsite for 10,000 people, like a real high-level 5-star campsite with amazing facilities. So hanging out there for the whole week with all the families and the youth is always a great venue. And it's easy to reach as well. It's a bit easier to get there than in the Canaries. So we're expecting the number of participants to even go higher than what we had the last years, and that was already a lot. So let's see how many young talents we're going to see there. This is definitely a highlight event of the season as well. And after that we're going to the Canary Islands, Fuerteventura in July. So, and we're still hoping to confirm the event in Gran Canaria as well, which is looking good for the big air.
Yeah. I'm looking especially for that one because the wings have progressed a little bit. I'm curious to see what they'll be boosting now with slightly new materials and different like structures and everything, because that's continuously improving. So I'm curious, especially because I rode with Chris and then Benji and stuff in La Ventana in Mexico. It was just crazy how high they were kicking. But I can't imagine what's going to come next. How was Benji in Cape Verde? Because that was his first one, right? He's finally old enough. Little shout out to Benji.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good little boy. I'm happy that now he's finally officially in the age. I mean, he's been on the scene already for 2 years. We gave him a wild card in Gran Canaria 2 years ago already. But yes, in the GWA as well as the SFT, the minimum age to participate is 14 years. So now he's turning 14 this year. So you need to turn 14 within the year of competition. So even if you're not 14 yet, you need to turn 14 at some point during the year. And now this his year has come, and it was his first event. We gave him he got a spot also through the video application. He's been riding well, but I think obviously his speciality is definitely freestyle. I think he trains more freestyle than waves, although I think he's a great overall rider, and he did really well. I think he had fun. He's a good boy to have on side. You know, he's very active. He's a good little boy to chat to. I mean, he's not. As I said, I got to know him when he was like 11 or 12, and now you really feel he's grown up. You know, although he's just 14, you feel like, hey, he's a big guy actually for his age too. And and you can see also due to this now his body is stronger. He's even more powerful in his style. But I think for like Hart, I think a lot of people are scared already.
Well, wait till that testosterone keeps flowing through those veins and his muscles just keep getting bigger. He's going to be unstoppable. Crazy kid.
Because that's definitely his specialty. So I think especially if the wind's strong, I think that's what he loves most. If the wind's really pumping, and if we get these conditions, I guess he's ready to put on an amazing show in Leuchardt in the freestyle game.
All right, Tom. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And enjoy your time at home and safe flights to the next event.
Yeah, thanks. Talk soon.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.